Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our next session with financial advisor Dominick Caiati and our dedicated podcast channel to serving the nursing community nationwide. So, Dominick, thanks. Welcome back here.
Hey, Jeff. How are you? Thanks for welcoming me back.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So we wrapped up our last session. It was estate planning. And we teased this session, and I think it's a very important one regarding especially those serving the public sector out there who have pensions that are tied to the government. We talk a lot about what we call the three-legged stool retirement. And that is the pension, the survivor annuity that's attached to the pensions is one aspect. Then you have Social Security, leg number two, and then number three, you have the thrift savings plan, 403b or 401k. So those three, a lot of times, are all attached either directly or indirectly to the government. And so you have this discussion a lot when you do your planning, and you talk about different investments and how to allocate, and you really talk about that third leg, which is, what are you going to do with that 403b or TSP 401k, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And oddly enough, the answer we get most frequently is, I don't know. I think I'll just, leave it there and let it ride and draw on it in retirement. And, number one, first and foremost, they don't realize the opportunity and the options they have, with their TSP monies in general, but they're not thinking at all, Jeff, that they're totally enmeshed with the government if they leave their TSP where it is, because now it's all controlled by the government, right?
Yep. And so that is the overview. We're going to get into some of the details here. So this is the discussion today, is that do you want your pension, which is controlled by the government, which means, and we're starting to see this in the state and local sector. I'm not a fearmonger here, but these states are running out of money. And so people that have been relying upon a certain pension, and I can tell you this for a fact, in the state of California, this happened a year and a half ago, got a letter saying that we're cutting your benefit by 30% on a fixed income in their pension. Now you got Social Security. Anybody who's paying attention knows that Social Security is not truly solvent. So you have the risk of government-backed Social Security income that's fixed. And so there's the third tier right there. So you can control where, not the investment, we're not talking about the specific investment of how you're allocated today, but controlling that third tier, which is your thrift savings plan for federal or 403b for state and local employees. And so what you're saying is maybe you should look at where that money sits and who's behind it, private institution versus government.
Exactly. And they don't even realize, lots of times, government employees, state employees, municipal employees don't realize that there's other options in the private sector for that money, for those, that 403b, 401k. And I'm a big believer in diversification, because I don't believe that anyone should have all of their retirement assets controlled by one entity, which is what they're exposing themselves to. Do you agree, Jeff?
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. So what you're saying is that a private institution might diversify where you're holding your TSP or 403b. So why should I say I'm a federal employee and I've got $500,000 in my TSP, and you come to me and say, hey, you have your FERS, which is the pension, one of the pension systems of the federal system. You have your Social Security income that you're going to start taking out at, say 65. What would you advise? Why would you advise me of looking, not so much for the investment part, but advise me as to looking at where to take that 500,000, maybe moving it out of the TSP?
Yeah, so first of all, we only do business with A-rated and A+ rated carriers, private insurance company carriers. We call them carriers, but they're private insurance companies. And what that rating means is that all of these companies are internationally rated by several different agencies. Standard & Poor's, Moody's, AM Best, and Fitch are the top 4. And the higher the rating, the more reserves the company has, the better record the company has of paying out their claims on their life insurance policies and their guaranteed streams of annuity income as well. So we always go for a top household name company. I don't want to mention any on this call, but when we talk to people in the future, we'll fill you in on that. But top household name, top rated company, A rated or better.
And so how does somebody get an A rating? How do, we don't have to go way into mechanics and the economics of it, but in essence, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's not really complicated. It has to do with a lot of different factors: longevity, how long the company is, has been established, and most of the ones that we do business with have been established for 100 years or longer. 100 years is on the younger side, actually. But mostly it has to do with how much money, how much of their assets they have, their liquid assets, are placed in reserves, which, by the way, are, that's a law, a state and a federal law, that all of these companies have to have a certain amount of money placed in reserves just in case of anything of an emergency, so that their claims on their life insurance death benefits can be covered without any problem at all, and their claims on their annuity payouts can be covered as well.
So very good financial health versus, well, let's just face it, at the federal level, I think we're hovering at close to 27 trillion of debt.
In federal debt, and as you mentioned earlier, I don't want to harp on this, but Social Security is in big trouble. Will it be there for you and I? Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Will it be there for our grandchildren's grandchildren? Probably not. I mean, for the first time, as I understand it, for the first time since it's been in existence, they're finally tapping into the Social Security Trust Fund, where prior to this, all payouts were made, basically payments were made on the interest that's it generates in the Social Security Trust Fund. But now they're actually going into the trust fund.
Right.
So
right.
you keep going into the well, what happens?
It's going to run out, and then here's the bottom line. We're not here to scare anybody, but this is why you need to have conversations with professionals to really determine what's in your best interest and how you're going to make sure you have a secure retirement. But let's take the thrift savings plan as an example. If now you can say that would never happen, but I'm telling you that if you're going to be taxed more, there could be more limits to be able to get your money. Long term, you just have to think about who's behind those assets. And I think diversification wise, that's a conversation that you should be having with a financial professional, just to look at your options. So that's important information.
Most definitely.
So if somebody's out there saying, okay, I don't even know where to start, can you walk through, for those that may not have been on previous episodes, at a high level view, what's your process when somebody comes to you, for retirement planning?
Yeah, so we have a questionnaire process. First we have what we refer to as a discovery call, and through a series of questions and answers, we determine whether that or not we're a good fit for each other at that point. And most of the time we are. And if we are, then we proceed down the process and we ask the person to fill out a short questionnaire form, which allows us, our team, to prepare a retirement income analysis. And we do the initial analysis for all federal employees totally free of charge. But it's a report basically that says, where will I be in retirement money-wise and income-wise with all my sources, my TSP, my Social Security, and my first pension, and am I going to run out of retirement? And if so, when am I going to run out of money in retirement? And if I am, what can I do now to make sure that doesn't happen in the future? So it's pretty compelling and pretty eye-opening to people.
And so there's no charge for that, correct? The initial
There is no charge. Yeah, that's totally complimentary.
So I mean, I may be speaking for the audience, but you should take advantage of this. As somebody that understands your benefits, works with your industry, and there's no cost for initial consultation. Do it from the comfort of your home. And we're in a crazy time right now, so take advantage of this opportunity with Dominic. How does somebody get a hold of you? Could you give your website out and your toll-free number?
Yeah, sure. My toll-free number is 888-435-7899, and I'm at extension 1. And our new website is CaiatiFinancial.com, and that's CAIATI financial.com.
All right, and also for federal employees out there, you want to go to fedchecklist.com, fedchecklist.com. You can post questions on there. Let us know you attended the podcast. You can find the other podcasts on either fedchecklist.com or publicpensionchecklist.com, where you will find questions that you need to have answered before you retire. Very important questions. The 12 most important questions for federal employees, 10 most important questions for state and local and public employees. So check that out. You can also reach us at 888-545-8840. And thank you, Dominic. Very good session. That's important information.
Oh, you're very welcome, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to our next one.
Yeah, well, our next one, we're going to be wrapping up season 1. So everybody join us next week. Look for the upload as we wrap up season 1 of retirement and financial planning, serving our nurses nationwide. So you don't want to miss that. All right, this concludes our session. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week.